I would think that despite having losing records the past 2 seasons, the Booster Club would be more than pleased with Coach Baig's success on our team. For example, only after Coach Baig became the head coach of our program did we ever make it to the finals of the state sectional tournament. And only when Coach Baig took over the head coach position were we ever back-to-back Iron Hills Conference champions. And in addition to those team accomplishments, he has allowed many individuals to excel through our program. Last year, despite multiple gaps in our wrestling lineup, 4 individuals made it to the regional tournament. As one of those individuals, I can say that Coach Baig did a stellar job preparing all of us. In fact, as Phil said, I only started wrestling my freshman year. So the only coaches who I've really had were our 2 assistant coaches and Coach Baig. Not only did Coach Baig help me decide to wrestle, but if not for him, I wouldn't have been a county champion, only the 11th from our high school. And I would certainly not now be considering colleges where I would wrestle. If Coach Baig was doing a poor job as head coach, then wrestlers like Kevin Staley, also here, and me, who've really only had 1 set of coaches, would not have won so many of our matches this year. But in reality, that isn't what makes a high school wrestling coach a great high school wrestling coach. What has made Coach Baig exceptional is what he does for us all from that. He teaches all of us life lessons every day, and has personally helped many of us through the years. The parents of one alumnus who I talked to today, Connor Gall, actually approached Coach Baig after Connor Gall graduated. They talked to him and thanked him personally because they felt that he would not have made it through high school if not for Coach Baig. I talked to him today and he said the same thing. Coach Baig was there to offer him necessary guidance. Now, Connor is a disciplined Dean's List college student. If not for our coach, he may not be there now. But underneath it all, what makes Coach Baig a great coach is that he loves what he does. He cares about all of his wrestlers, and he's there for each one of us. He's always open to talk to when any of us need help, and for me, he not only helped point me toward colleges that I could wrestle at, but he's also writing a college recommendation for me. My sports experience in West Morris Mendham High School has been extraordinary, and I believe that Coach Baig is to thank. I only hope my senior year can be that excellent, and that others can continue to be so lucky. Please allow Coach Baig to remain the head coach for the good of our entire program.
Hi, I'm Sarah Kozlowski, Chester Township. I want to thank the wrestling team for coming and speaking from the heart. I am also part of the Wrestling Booster Club, and I am part of the Wrestling Booster Club, as many parents are here today, in support of Coach Baig. There were a few as Chris Clark so eloquently put, there are many parents on the Booster Club that are speaking louder than the rest, and does not speak for all of us. My son also, and my son who graduated last year, are first-time wrestlers in the high school. They've had no other coaches except Coach Baig, and he had led them to become excellent wrestlers and excellent young men who are my older son now in college and my senior son here in support of Coach Baig. So I would like to give my support as part of the Wrestling Booster Club to keep Coach Baig as head coach.
My name is Michelle Colon, and I have 3 sons. One has already graduated. I have 2 who are wrestling currently, a senior, Phil, and a sophomore, Vince. And my husband and I'm speaking on behalf of my husband and I, just to support Coach Baig. He's been a great coach. He works the kids really hard. They're always safe, and he's highly communicative. So yeah, I would just like to say that we love Coach Baig, and we wouldn't want to see any other coach. Thank you.
public at this time. To our consent agenda.
Sure, I'll have to do
All in favor? Opposed? Yeah, let me take a minute and explain to everybody here. We have a consent agenda, and if we don't exclude something from the consent agenda, it automatically passes with the motion that was just made by Jamie and seconded by Stowe. That means that everything on the agenda was just moved and passed. So, right prior to executive session. So, if anybody here was concerned about a particular item on the agenda being passed, it's just was accomplished.
I said I don't have time to chat.
So are we done?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
Yes, I
You
am.
know, you are. Yes, I am. Okay, great.
What's your second on the word is?
We're exciting choice. So I will open to the public one last time. If anybody has any questions or comments before we go into executive session.
In reviewing the tape from last time, I saw Mr. Met expressed very clearly, and I appreciated that, she has never voted against a child being placed out of district placement. And your comment made me curious as to go back and look at the voting record of the board. So I spent a considerable amount of time over the past 2 weeks going over the board meeting minutes spent in the last 18 months. And I was particularly curious to see how Mr. Button voted, considering he's repeatedly questioned why we spend the most amount of money on the students least likely to succeed, or another way he said it was the students least likely to give back to society, or another way he said it was the students that will give us the least amount of return for the investment. Amazingly, I found that Mr. Button has repeatedly either voted no or abstained regarding out-of-district placements for special needs students. Furthermore, Mr. Button has said that he doesn't have enough information to make these decisions. Ms. Forrester, I want to ask you, doesn't each board member get their meeting packet in advance of the meeting so all the board members can review the packet and get the answers to the questions that they have before the board meeting so that they can vote appropriately?
We typically get our packets on, we used to get them on Thursday, now we get them on Friday. and in advance of a Monday meeting.
So if there's any questions, the board can call on Monday and speak to, for instance, Dr. Lee if there's any questions about the special ed.
Correct.
Mr. Button, why don't you get the information that you need so that you can vote?
I give all the information that's available to board members, so I can vote.
Yes, but if you say you cannot pass it or you abstain, which is what you have voted the majority of the time, why don't you call the Director of Special Services and get the answers that you need so that you can vote?
I have to correct a couple of things you said. First of all, you misquoted me several times in your statement, and secondly, I have not abstained.
How did I misquote you?
Secondly, I have not abstained the majority of the time. Most of what you quoted is in the statement.
Oh, I don't believe so.
And Dana, I wish that the public comment period was an opportunity for members of the public to engage in a debate with their targeted board member, but it's not.
Please address the board.
I'm addressing the board about comments and about the voting record of Mr. Button. From what I have seen, he voted no for the majority of the time in the beginning, and then he abstained in recent months. So I'm just curious why he would vote no and abstain the majority of the time if Dr. Lee can answer the questions that he may have.
And that would be something that only Mr. Button could answer for you.
And I need to know what specific motion you're referring to. Do you have a specific motion?
Well, most of them you've either voted no or you abstained.
That's untrue.
Do you call Mr. Lee and get any questions that you may want, that you need in order to make a vote?
As I said earlier, Dana, public comment period is not an opportunity for a member of the public to engage